Hello, and welcome to Lund University International Podcast. My name is Mumbi, and I am from Zambia. I'm going to be your host today. We have a special recording which is celebrating International Women's Day. And the theme for 2024 is Inspire Inclusion. Inspire others to understand and value women's inclusion so that we forge a better world. And so we thought it would be interesting to have women who are involved in technology and come from the global south. And with me are two friends. Ladies, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes. Hello, Mumbi. I am Juliana Rojas. I am from Peru, and I am studying Data Analytics and Business Economics Master Program here in Lund University. Happy to be here.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Mumbi, for inviting me to be here today. My name is Hema. I'm from Bangalore, India, and I'm pursuing my master's in Information Systems, and glad to be here today.
Excellent. Thank you both. So we'll start off with something light and fun. If you were to describe yourself with one color, what color would that be? And I will go first. I would say green, because it's a mixture of blue and yellow. Sometimes I'm happy and sometimes I'm sad. So I'll go with green.
Oh, nice. I would say I'm a rainbow. I mean, it's not a color, but a mix of colors because I am very, I have a lot of things that I like and a lot of feelings, maybe. I don't know. What about you?
I've never thought about what color I would choose, but I think I'll just go with my favorite one, black.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mysterious.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we've all mentioned which countries we come from, and it would be interesting to contrast the culture differences between our countries and our experiences. And so, ladies, we've been here in Sweden for roughly the same amount of time. We all arrived in August 2023. And so, obviously, there's a few cultural differences between our countries and our experiences in Sweden and Europe so far. And what would you say are some of the differences that you've noticed, if you could say one difference culturally?
Everything closing at 5. That was so strange for me because back in India, everything stays open up until late night.
Yeah.
Or even at least until 10. You can just go, get something if you forgot. Here, you just have to, be very time bound. So that's one major difference that I found.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and one of the difference that I have found here is, for example, during classes, we call our teachers or professors with their first name, which is like totally different from Peru, where we call the teacher like professor or with the last name. So that's totally different. And I like the way here it is.
Yeah, that's really good. And my difference that I've noticed isn't so much cultural, but I guess it is in a sense the weather. We have so much sunshine in my country. And so when I saw the darkness, that was a completely new experience. Still good, but different. Yes. We'd like to find out now what motivated you to pursue a degree in tech. I guess I could go first.
Yes.
Okay. So I spent the last decade as a librarian, and I was always curious about technology because I feel like it makes you free in so many ways and you're able to solve real world problems. And so I applied to Lund University and I got accepted. I was really excited about that.
That's nice. Very interesting that you changed your completely background to tech now.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Exciting indeed. A little scary, but yes.
Yes, I get your point because I also, in my case, come from another background, and then I decided that I want to move my career to data science mostly. So for me, it's also like a big jump, and also it was a big opportunity that this program here in Lund didn't require me to be from a computer science background, for example. So I came from industrial engineering to data science through this program. And yeah, I'm so glad that I have chosen this because I have learned a lot. And I see the future with this AI and computer science and data in general is very broad. And I am very, very excited about what opportunities I can have and what I can continue learning.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, that's very interesting to know because it's always difficult to switch careers. And back from where in the global south to generalize, it's very hard to switch careers unlike the Western world. So that's quite interesting to know. Technically, I'm from India, so every other person is just an engineer or a doctor. So I chose to be an engineer.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very much so.
But also, yeah, I've been very interested when it comes to working with computers ever since I was like a little kid, playing video games and things like that. And I was always interested to know what goes on in the background. And so I chose to study computer science in my undergrad and then just, continued further. And I'm glad I chose this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I think you and I, Hema, classmates, our course tackles a lot of business and
Yeah.
information and people.
Yeah.
So you have like all this integration of things.
Yeah, that's always better when it comes to technology, because learning just the technology is never enough. You always have to know how to make good decisions, because that's
Absolutely.
what leads your company or your decisions
Absolutely.
in a better way. So,
Yeah. Strategy, yeah?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure we all agree that it's always helpful in this industry to have support because it helps us believe in ourselves and do even more. And so what would you say allies and advocates can do to support women in technology more effectively? How can they go about doing that?
Hire more talented women to start with.
Yes, I think these types of opportunity, like inspiring or taking women from different countries through scholarships, are very, very helpful. For example, in our case, Mumbi and I come from this Swedish Institute scholarship support, and I think that's very valuable that they also try to put a lot of talented women also in tech. And I have seen that a lot of my classmates, in my case, for example, we are a lot of women in our program. And yeah, and I think also companies can hire more women, because in my case, when I have previously worked, the first time that I got into data analytics area in this consultancy firm that I worked, everyone was men, and I was like the first woman then, and it was very interesting. But also I was happy that they say like they are putting efforts to hire more women. And then when I left the company after 1 year and almost a half, and there were more women in our team, but I would say also it's there is more to do, because the difference are very high yet. I think I've read some statistics that say that women, in the case of data science, is 15%, while men is 85% in this area. So there are a lot of efforts to still do. But I think we're on the way. What do you think, Mumbi?
I think I agree exactly with what you're saying, that the numbers aren't always in our favor. I think it's helpful if in the different spaces we are in, when women speak up, they're listened to. Something as simple as in a meeting setting, if a woman voices her opinion, let her be heard and support that which she's saying. Because when teams have more diversity, there's more solutions that will be created that are relevant to the client base and to whoever you're serving. So that is very important, inclusion in that sense. And so we'll move on to the next question. Have you had any mentors or role models who have inspired or guided you in your journey in tech?
None so far, but I have a new mentor right now in our department. We have this Women in Lund mentoring association called Wilma, and I'm an adept this semester, and I have a new mentor for me. And I just had a first meeting with her a couple of days ago, and it was quite wonderful. It's very inspiring to know her journey, and I'm sure we'll have some good conversations and good takeaways from this mentorship.
Excellent.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
That's excellent.
Great.
I would say in my case, when I started to be in this field, I didn't have any role model actually. Like I just jumped in it because I was very curious about this evolving data field. And that's about mentors is very, very important for us, because for example, when I was in elementary school, I remember that I never read like women being in tech or nothing like that. And I cannot remember that. And I think the role model is very important, at least for children, like for women children to see that they can go through that field as well. I am starting to look for some role models. For example, I have found a Stanford professor called Fei Li, and she has been positioning herself like a reference in this field. And yes, and I would say also some people that I know back in my country are starting to get positions as managers in data science, and which makes me very happy because this is the first time that I see one of my classmates or people that I know that are starting to get a high position. And yes, I would say that's what I have seen so far.
Yes.
What about you, Mundi?
Well, I have a community back home of women in technology that I didn't know about before, but when I started to be curious about it, I started to meet people in the profession. So there are two ladies in my home country. One, her name is Kapesa Singogo, and she did an MSc in Information Systems just like me. And then she did an MBA, and she's such a boss lady. And there's also another lady called Matambila Karima. And yeah, she's in cybersecurity and she's in a very good position. And they're both leaders in what they do, but also very empathetic in their leadership, which I admire greatly. So not only do they create solutions, but they care about how they lead people. And in terms of seeing someone online, there's a lady called Reshma Saujani, and I think I've shared her with both of you. She's American, Indian originally, and she's, oh gosh, can we say badass? Is that allowed? She's so badass because she started a program for girls who can code and led an entire movement of empowering more and more young ladies in the US to learn this very important skill and to also just get the support that they need. And I believe so much that representation matters. And so when we see people that look like us, we believe also that we can do it too. So that's pretty special, yeah. And it's really meaningful, I think, coming from our context. So what are some challenges, perhaps, that you have faced along the way in this journey?
Working in a team full of men and being the only woman on team, that was not a challenge per se, but it was quite intriguing because it's always, you come from a male-dominated society, and even at workplace, you see just men all around, and you kind of get intimidated at first, especially when you're just beginning your career. But I think most of my colleagues were extremely wonderful and cooperative, and they wanted my opinion. So that's very important to have someone in the team, or even your manager for that matter, to understand and listen to your opinions, because it's a decision that he or she might have to take in the future. So it's always good to have that teamwork and make you feel included. So that's extremely important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. And I have faced the same intriguing situation that I entered to my first job, and everybody was a man, and so and everybody was nice too, like same as in your case, but I was always wondering, like, why we're like there is more men in this field and not more women. And yes, but now I see that also it's on us to be type of representative women also for another women. And I would say also another challenge that I have faced, but I don't know if it's related to gender, but in my case it was that when I entered to this field, I felt like very scary of making mistakes. And in this data science, or in general in tech, you will do a lot of mistakes in the way. And that's something that I have been learning through the way. And this is also a challenge that I have faced, I say.
And in my opinion, I think making mistakes is part of the process. That's how we learn.
That's extremely important.
And when you're brave, you're going to make a couple of errors along the way. But so long as you're moving forward. And similar to you, the challenge that I have faced has been more intrinsic than anything, where I'm like panicking, like, do I really belong here? And am I really capable? But yet you are in the room and you are in the program. So yes, you do belong.
Like imposter syndrome.
Exactly, imposter syndrome. It's the worst. But you find ways of coping with it. And over time, I think you start to realize, wait, I'm not alone. This journey is actually my journey and I can win. So that's very interesting. And our next question is, what are some of the common misconceptions and stereotypes about women in tech, and how do you challenge them? Maybe I could go first. I think, from my opinion, my experience being a woman who's a professional, sometimes you're not always taken seriously because you're objectified more often than not. And so when you speak up, sometimes you're not heard. So challenging that, I think, is to keep on speaking and to continue to be excellent at the work that you do so that that also speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think a misconception is that if a woman becomes a manager or leads the team, then she's very authoritative and she holds this power over you. And I don't know. It's a very common misconception where people in general say, "Oh, who's your manager?" If they take up a female name, then they'll be like, "Ah, she's such a dash."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the common misconception because as women, we decide, we make decisions based on all aspects, not just to take the team forward, but also emotionally. We have to think about people's opinions and we care. So that's what we do. So sometimes that's not appreciated, and I think people should care about others more often, that because that's what makes your company culture better.
Definitely.
That's what makes people stay in the team for longer period of time, and that's what makes you want to come to work every day and make a difference if possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, in my case, I would say, I don't know if it's a misconception, but usually, or a stereotype, but I have found that in the working place, usually women are the ones that are organizing something, and that the technical stuff is always on men, usually.
Yeah.
And I have seen a lot of that, and usually men are kind of expecting women to organize things while they found themselves more comfortable in the other side. So I don't know if that's a stereotype misconception or it's something that is usually that I have seen in my workplaces.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Almost like the culture seeping into the workplace. Yeah. And there's a culture that's supposed to be professional where we're all colleagues and we can respect one another's opinion. Yeah. So how would you say that you stay connected with your community at home while in Lund?
LinkedIn
Yeah.
for the professional community, and WhatsApp and FaceTime with the personal relationships, your family, friends, and things like that. It's always hard with the time difference, definitely, but you make time for your people.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, same for me. I usually have some meetings with my family. I have a big family, so we gather together on WhatsApp calls and Sundays, for example, and we chat what we have done during the week.
Yeah.
And it's very nice. I love that. And with my professional community, I also use LinkedIn to stay connected. And now this year, I am trying to talk with new people also in LinkedIn and that are in this field, and they can recommend me like what knowledge can I get to continue growing my career and stuff. I think LinkedIn is very powerful to make connections in this professional environment.
Definitely. I would say it's tricky, and maybe you both will relate to this, because it's almost like you exist in two worlds. Your family and your community professionally back home, and then in this new environment where you're also trying to meet other professionals to learn from their experiences, because that's what we're here to do, to learn. So I would say with my home country, when it comes to personal, definitely WhatsApp is great. And when it comes to professional, I'm still in touch with, there's a organization called Women in Technology Network that I'm a part of. So I try and volunteer in ways that I can here and there. And yeah, still keep on nurturing the relationships that I have with the ladies there. And of course, LinkedIn. We should probably put a link to our LinkedIn after this. But yes, LinkedIn is such a great platform because you get to create your brand and you get to connect with the professionals all over the world that you'd like to. And so it's such a powerful tool to use.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as a student at a world-class university, what do you hope to achieve or contribute to the tech industry?
That's such a heavy question, I would say.
Pressure, yes.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. But as you said, it's world class, and the education system is extremely different from what I've been experiencing since childhood. So, for example, you can retake the exams how many ever times you want. That was so weird and also very good, because that exactly shows you emphasize on the learning part rather than the results part of things. So yeah, hopefully I personally hope that I get good relationships with the alumni professionally, because Lund University has an amazing alumni network.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I am personally looking forward to be part of that in the future and help more students or be mentors for them in the future, maybe. Yeah, I would love that.
Yes, same. In my case, I would definitely like to take what I have learned here in some way in my country, because I think in Peru, where I come from, it's a lot to do regarding technology. Here I see a lot of more advanced approaches that I can take to my home country. So I would definitely love to contribute there. And I'm also very interested in entrepreneurship. So maybe I'm looking forward to start some company or something. That's a dream that I would have, and using technology and contribute there in Peru. Yeah.
That's really amazing. Yeah, I think so. Because with business, you always get to create, and it's like it can be whatever it is that you and your team envision it to be. So that's really exciting.
Yes, it is.
And
yes.
you, what about you?
Oh, yes. I have a very curious mind. You both know this. So I'm always thinking of like different ideas, and I would like to develop innovations similar to what you're speaking about. And fortunately, we're connected to so many really good resources here at Lund University, as well as not just in LUSEM, which is the School of Economics and Management, but at LTH, the engineering one. So just spending time in these spaces and like learning and asking questions so that I can get some of these ideas and see how they can be relevant back home. But also I really believe in interpersonal relationships. And so in my culture in Southern Africa, there's a concept of Ubuntu. The saying is motho ke motho ka batho, like a person is a person because of people. And so it's important that we give back to the society we come from, as well as learn from those who've gone ahead. So it's something that I feel very strongly about, because I think if more young girls know that they have access to this information through relating with us, if we've gone to a world-class university, then they will realize that it's demystified. So they have access to these spaces as well. And I hope as many as possible apply to come to Lund University, to Sweden, to study and to learn and take this information back home, because so much good can be done for our communities from that.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I completely agree.
And sometimes they don't know what opportunities exist. So
Exactly.
yeah, also I would like to expand, like share my experiences so they can know what is more like in the world,
Yes. And that's such a good point. Having access to information, it creates possibilities,
Exactly.
And it brings down barriers.
Yeah.
And it encourages inclusion, which I think is also the theme of this year's International Women's Day. Okay. What advice would you give to girls and women in your home countries who are considering pursuing a career in tech or studying at Lund University?
As a general advice for girls looking to move into STEM field, just go for it. Don't be intrigued, even if there are like lots of male students in your class or in your university or something like that. Just go for it. Believe in yourself, and you can always achieve no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so nice. I would say that the opportunities are infinite, and the girls can pursue and be whatever they want. And it's all about, I would say, the mindset that you have. And if no one in your close friends or close family is there in tech, it doesn't mean that you cannot do it, because now the world is moving more and we need more people in tech. So I think there is a huge opportunity for women and people in general to move their careers in this field. And it's very important also to look for opportunities and to look for networks that can support you and to get involved. I think to participate in these types of events will give you more ideas and will open your mind, because sometimes we only act with what we know, but we need to continuously be learning so we can know what other possibilities we have. Yes, so just jump on tech career.
I would like to mention one more thing.
Yes.
It's not going to be easy. Nothing's going to be easy. There'll be lots of downs before you see any sign of a positive change. But do not give up. Just go for it.
And nothing worthwhile is ever easy.
Exactly.
Like, what is easy? Nothing worthwhile is. I would say to them, don't be afraid to take risks. And don't be afraid to learn the lessons from whatever the mistakes are. Like, even if you try a path and it doesn't work out, learn fast, learn from that mistake and then try something else that's new that you're interested in. And I would also say to them that, like you said, Hema, believe in yourself, because you have to be your biggest support system, because you may be hearing external voices that are telling you the opposite. So you have to tell yourself that, hey, I actually can do this thing. And I would say stay learning. Like, there's so much available right now. You can go to online tutorials. Exactly. You can approach people who would be more than willing to help you more often than not. You can attend lectures in different spaces. Sometimes they're open lectures that will allow you to, or webinars online. It's so great that we live in a time where access to information is almost literally.
We have just to be curious.
Yes.
And respect also our learning process, because everybody learns
in a different way and in a different pace.
You cannot compare yourself in your beginner stage with
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Otherwise you feel like, I'm not doing enough.
Exactly.
And yet it takes time. The process takes a while, but don't stop, keep moving and keep making progress forward.
The learning is always the journey, and journey is what matters.
It's not so much the destination, is it?
I mean, And also, never make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a few. Okay. Why should we not make the same mistake twice?
I don't know. It's just that you learn from your mistakes, and if you have not learned it enough or completely, that's when you do the same thing again. So just learn completely and just move on, because you can make better mistakes and learn better things.
Yeah, I think the story we get told, and I'm sure it's similar for you both as girls, is, oh, you're such a nice girl, you're such a pretty girl. Like, we're expected to be this perfect porcelain doll that never makes any mess ups. But that's not realistic. That's not real life. It's okay to learn from them.
To make mistakes.
But let's maybe not make too many.
Try to learn from them.
Try to learn. Exactly. Focus on learning. That's
learning,
important.
Always.
And speaking about learning, how do you stay updated with the latest trends, since technology is constantly evolving?
Right now, it's very difficult to manage everything, because you're in a whole other country, focusing on your courses, and now it's the master thesis time for all of us. But I think a few videos on YouTube on how on what's happening in the world right now, and also LinkedIn updates where there are lots of influencers sharing, like, what happened in tech this week and things like that. So it's always a good way to be active on socials to get more information, because we always get so lost in just mindlessly scrolling our socials. So it's always good to have that kind of a sense on what you want out of it. So it for me, it's just the socials. Just be online, because everything's online now.
Follow the correct people.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes, in my case, what I do is also to go through LinkedIn, and I'm trying to look for these accounts that can post these trends in technology. And also, I like when I'm just going in a bus or going through classes, I love to hear podcasts in general. And I am trying sometimes to hear something related to my field. For example, I follow a podcast called The Data Scientist Show, and I try to learn also while walking or just going to classes. Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. I actually forgot about the tech thing. Podcast, actually. Yeah, podcasts are really good because on the go, you don't have to like sit down and watch a video, but you're able to take that information in. I find YouTube is really helpful. If there's an area that I'm curious about, I could just type that in and then I'll probably find a lecture and someone who's an expert. You always have to make sure it's someone who knows what they're talking about. Yes, someone who's credible. And that's really helpful. And I would also say I subscribe to McKinsey & Co. have a newsletter that comes out weekly. And then I'm able to see like what are some of the highlights that are happening. And that's really helpful. And also just like staying in community with people who know about these things and asking them, you know, what they know, because I learn through conversations more than anything.
And I can add something here. In our university, we have courses which keeps changing according to the latest trend. So that's the feedback that we as students give. We have the opportunity to give back to the professors on how this could be changed in a better way. For example, we had a discussion with the council the other day, and they asked us, what more could be added to the course or what could be changed in a better way so that it can adapt to the fast-paced changing environments in AI, for example. So that's another thing that I love about Sweden here.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like feedbacks very seriously.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's how it should be, like everywhere,
It should be.
Yeah.
You can learn so much. I love it too. I find that sometimes it's hard to speak up because you don't know what the feedback will be when you speak up. But in an environment where you're going to be listened to and your feedback is actually valuable. It sounds weird, perhaps, if you come from a culture where that's very normal.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think feedback is really helpful because it helps go back into the cycle of improving things. If you've heard of Kaizen, that's like continuous improvement. So how are you going to get better if you're not open to feedback? And if you're open to feedback, it means it doesn't always have to be what you want to hear. We're doing our thesis and sometimes it's like critical feedback, but it's meant to help you improve and be better.
Yeah.
And I think if you really care about a process or about a person, you will tell them, hey, there's something, a blooper on your forehead, something to help improve. Yeah, so long as it's said with care behind as a motivating factor.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've been receiving as our feedbacks for all these submissions that we've been doing so far.
This is true. This is true.
Always an opportunity to improve and be a better self.
And be better, absolutely. And so perhaps you could share as well. So in the Swedish market, what has inspired you? Like, are there any innovations that you've seen or perhaps groups that you've affiliated with that you feel like you're learning from and you're able to maybe practice some of what you're doing in the classroom setting?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we, Mumbi and I, we are part of this Women in Tech Association, which is based out of Malmo. We get to meet so many people from different parts of the tech and different parts of Sweden and world, because most of them who are new to Sweden, they want to attend these meetups, so which happens once every month. And it's always good to meet new people and learn about their experiences. And it's also a very good opportunity to see if people are hiring, because more often than not, it's always through such personal meetups that people meet others, and that's how they get to know each other, and that's how they refer and things like that. So it's always good to have more people come in, and maybe I'll share the details with you. You can attend the next meetup.
Definitely, yeah. I didn't know that existed also. I've seen some communities like Women in Tech also, but from Stanford University, but I didn't attend yet.
I'm noticing a trend here.
I was planning to.
Stanford?
No. I was planning like to see, because they have online sessions
great.
to go, but I haven't done that so far. But Also, I would love to go with you guys to this Women in Tech here in Malmö.
Yeah.
And in my case, I also have been to some networking events in Lund University in this Ideon. It was more about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
But I agree that it's always good to know people, to get to talk with them. In my case, I was a little shyer before, but now I see the value of knowing and networking with people. So that's definitely something that we can recommend doing to all the students here in Lund. And yes,
Yeah, and there's another association called Pink Programming, and they host lots of workshops. It's always good to attend those workshops, at least, you know, to get to understand what's happening in the field. And there's always new people coming and teaching you new things. And it's always good to be part of that.
And I would like to add also that sometimes I was recently thinking that we get a lot of information, and sometimes we maybe we can find also time to apply what we are learning. So maybe it's an important step to start working in personal projects and start improving your own CV in that way. And also with these new connections that we find in these networking events, try to find a way so we can keep connected to them. And I think, Mumbi, you are very good at this. You can give more tips.
In networking?
I am.
She's our Wikipedia.
Oh my goodness. I think when it comes to networking, it's good to just establish interpersonal connections. When you're faced with a person in front of you, listen to them, make eye contact, you know, ask them questions, listen to what they have to say. Smiling is always a great thing to do, because it always gives a good cue that you're interested in, you know, the person that you're speaking with. And I think it just evolves naturally. Knowing that you care about them and they care about you means that they're going to build trust with you over time. And I mean, this is proof right now. So glad you both said yes, because I wasn't sure what you're going to say. But this is really good. And then we can all win. You know, when I was younger, my dad had this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teenagers. And one of the habits is think win-win. So there's room enough for all of us to win. Sometimes people think that women are trying to put each other down. But really, we're trying to see all of us win. You know, like 5 years from now, I want to see your business thriving, Juliana. And I want to see you, Hema, being like, you know, this big bad boss in some tech company, you know, and for myself to also be doing really innovative things. So there's room enough for us all. Even if we do a similar thing, we can collaborate at the top.
Yeah, always. Even though it seems a little bit awkward to go forward and talk to someone, just go for it.
Yes, and you'll never know. If you never try, the answer will always be no.
No, exactly.
Yeah, so audacity is very important, I believe.
And also be a little delusional.
Well,
it helps.
I suppose so. To wrap this up, we'll finish with something light. How do you balance the demands of your studies and your personal interests and hobbies?
To be transparent right now, I don't think I have that bandwidth to focus on my hobbies, because I love to read, as you know,
yes, of course.
and also, you know, be a little more creative in things. But right now, the focus is completely on the master's program, and I just want to give it my all and make the best out of it. So I'm just kind of putting a pause on my personal interests. But when I was working before, I had a really good balance of, you know, reading, and I love to travel. So I just used to run away every other weekend, and it was a good balance. And it's always good to have that kind of a balance when you're working. Otherwise, you can just get so lost in your work, and it's easy to become a workaholic. So you need to have that sense of, you know, balance and keep more things interesting in your personal life as well. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, I started to try to wake up earlier. So I usually wake up for example, at 6, and I try to go to the gym. So I start my day like doing this exercise, so that releases a lot of stress. Like I feel very, very good when I start my day by exercising, and then I jump into the school activities. And I think that that's very important to have this balance. And I try to travel when I can, when the course term finish or something, with my friends. And yes, that's so far. I also like music, so I just enjoy this every day.
Juliana, it's like you took the words out of my mouth. Everything you said, I can relate to. Definitely love travel. Definitely encourage exercise, because what's good for the body is also good for the mind. Helps you focus a lot better. If it's yoga, if it's, gym, that's always great. And so with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming through, and to our listeners, we hope you've learned a thing or two. So everyone can support women in this journey of technology, and technology is able to create such diverse solutions for the entire society and not just women. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.